In this video, we are going to create the execution context diagram for this code. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we have the piece of code, and we know the first time when we are running any piece of code, it creates a global execution context. So we'll create a global execution context. Right now, the execution context is in declaration phase. So we'll start from line number 1. Here on line number 1, we see a function declaration. So we'll create a box. The name of the box is outer, and it is a function. So we'll skip all the other lines in the function declaration and directly move to this line where we are defining a variable named getSum. So we'll go ahead, create a box. This variable is defined using let. So we'll not initialize the box. The name of the box is getSum. Similarly, we'll move on to the next line. Here we see a variable declaration called num. So we'll create another box, and the name of the box is num. So this was the last line. So declaration phase is over. We'll move on to the next phase, that is execution phase. In execution phase, the first thing we see is a function declaration. So we'll skip all this line, directly come to this line, and here we see the value returned from outer function will be assigned to getSum variable. So here we are executing a function. So what will happen? We'll create a function execution context. And this is the function execution context of outer. Right now it is in declaration phase. So on line number 1, inside the function, we see a variable declaration called b. The box is created using let, so we'll not initialize the box. Going forward, we see another function declaration called inner. So we'll create a function here. The name of the function is inner. And at last, there is a return, so it will not be executed in declaration phase. So declaration phase is over, we'll move on to execution phase. In execution phase, the value of 10 is assigned to the variable b. So we assign the value 10. Later we are saying return inner. So from this function, we are returning the inner function. So inner gets returned from here, and that will be assigned to the variable getSum. So here getSum has a value of inner function. But one important thing to notice is whenever a function gets returned from a higher order function, it also carries the environment. Here, what is the environment? The environment is a variable b with a value of 10. So we'll go ahead and create the box here, showing that this is an extra value that this inner function is carrying. That is a value of b that is assigned to 10. So execution context is over. We'll delete this execution. Now we'll move on to the last line where we are saying let num is equal to and executing a function called getSum. So we'll create an execution context diagram for getSum. Let me just expand it so we can just create the diagram here. So function execution context will be created. So the function execution context will be created here. This is the function execution context of getSum. And what is getSum? GetSum is the inner function with an extra closer value that contains b is equal to 10. So this will also be present here. I'm just going to make it something like this. That shows that it contains a value known as closer that has a value of b is equal to 10. Now this is in declaration phase. So in declaration phase, inside the function inner, we see a variable declaration called a. So we'll create a box. The name of the box is a, and it will not be assigned to any value because it is declared using let. So declaration phase is over because there is no more declaration. So we'll move on to the execution phase. In execution phase, the value of 20 is assigned to variable a. So we'll assign the value 20 here. Now here we are saying console.log a plus b. So again, a function execution context will be created inside the execution context of getSum. So let's make a smaller one here inside this. So there is no declaration inside console.log, and here we are logging the value a plus b. So what will happen here? I'm looking for the value of a. So what will I do? The first thing I'll do is I'll go inside this memory looking for the value of a. I'll not find it. So where will I go? I'll bubble out to the parent. So we are in parent's memory. Do we see a value a? Yes, we see the value a, and that is 20. So I'll get the value 20. Later on, for the value of b, we'll do the same thing. We'll come to the memory, we'll not find it. We'll bubble out. Here, do we see the value b? We do not. So when we do not see the value, rather than going to the parent, if any function includes a closer, it first goes into the closer. And here we see the value of b to be 10. So finally, we got the value of a and b. Now we will sum them, and the value of a plus b will be 20 plus 10, that is equal to 30. So 30 will get returned from this function. So the value of 30 got returned from here. Sorry, it's not a return statement in just console log. So in console log, we'll see the message 30 here. So I'll just create a console log here, and in that we see a message 30. And in that way, the execution is over. So we'll delete this execution context, and console log returns the value undefined. So inside num, we'll have a value of undefined. And the value 30, that console log, will be in the console log. So now after doing this, in our stat, we can see that outer is a function, getSum is a function with a closer of value b is equal to 10, num is a value of undefined. If you want, we can also execute this code in console and see the output. So press enter. After doing this in console log, we see the value 30 and the value of num is undefined. That is exactly what we got here. So in that way, we completed the execution context of this code. Now let's go ahead and create the execution context for this code snippet. So we have the code snippet here. We have already created global execution context. It is in declaration phase right now. We'll start with line number 1, where we are seeing a function declaration called getCounter. So we'll create a box, name it getCounter, and we know that it is a function because it is a function declaration. We'll skip all these lines and go to this place where we are declaring a variable. So we'll create another box with the name of counter, and the value will not be initialized because it is defined using let. So in this way, declaration phase will be over. We'll move on to execution phase. In execution, the first line we see a function declaration. So we'll skip this part and come to this part. Here on the right hand side, we see a function execution, and the value returned from there is assigned to counter variable. So whenever you execute a function execution context gets created. So we'll go ahead and create a function execution context of getCounter. It is in declaration mode right now. Here we see a variable declaration called count. It will not be initialized to any value because it is declared using let. The name is count. There is no other declaration, so we'll move on to execution phase. In execution phase, we see a value of 0 being assigned to count. And moving on, here we are saying return. Anonymous function gets returned from here, and whatever getting returned from here will be assigned to the variable counter. So we know it is a function, anonymous function. So let's just paste it here. So this is this function here. One important thing that will also happen with this is when you return a function from the function, in this case, the environment inside that function also gets returned from there, and that is what is known as closure. So here we'll create a box. In that box is what closure is, and the value is count, that is equal to 0 right now. So we are done, and as soon as that happens, we'll delete the execution context here. and we'll move on to next line. So we are done with this. Moving to this line, we see a execution context of counter. So let's go ahead and create an execution context for counter. So we'll create an execution context here. This is the execution context of counter. What is counter? So we can see counter is a function with a special closure value of count that is equal to 0. So we are executing this function. Inside this function, there is no declaration, so we'll directly move to execution phase. And here we are saying count plus plus. So we are returning this value. So what is the first thing we'll do? We'll look at, we forget to do one more thing is, this is a special function with closure. So I'll create a box here. This box represents closure. The value is count and it is assigned, the value of 0 is assigned to count. So here we are saying count plus plus. So first thing we will do is to look for the value of count. We'll go into the memory. Do we find the value here? Not at all. So what is the next thing we'll do? Because this function has a special place called closure, will not bubble out to the parent. First we will go into the closure. Here we find the value of count to be 0. So what we are doing here? So count plus plus returns the value. So it will return the value. What is the value it will return? It will return 0. And plus plus operator. So here plus plus operator is change and assign operator. So it will change the value. So here the value of count will be changed to a new value 1. And that will also reflect here. The value got changed to 1. As soon as that happens, it will get deleted. So for the first time here, the output will be 0. Similarly, if we do the same thing here, we create another execution context similar to this. So we'll create another execution context here for for this line. And here again what will happen, this is the execution context of counter. Here we have a closure value and that closure contains a value of count to be 1. Here we are saying count plus plus. So it will take the value 1, return it. So that's why here count will be 1 and the value of count will change from 1 to 2 because plus plus operator will change the value from 1 to 2. And as soon as that happens, the execution context of this function will get deleted. And similarly, the same thing will happen for next two cases. And that is, next time the value will change from 2 to 3, 2 will get returned here. And this case, it will be 3. So in this case, what we see finally here in our global memory is like we have a function called getCounter, that is a function. We have counter, that is a function with a closure value of count to be 3. And at last it will change from 3 to 4. So let's go ahead and see that. So let's go ahead and try to execute this code and see the output. Press enter and here we see the last value is 3. But what if we do it one after another? So let's just clear it out, paste it here and do it multiple times. So for the first time it is 0. What happens when we call counter again? It will 1, 2, 3. Now if we look at closure, what if we want to look at closure? So we'll say counter function. So we know counter is a function, but the definition we can see it here. Can we see the closure, the value inside closure? So for that, we have to convert this function into an object form. And press enter, and here we can see it is an anonymous function. This anonymous function has multiple scope. And in the scope, we see the value, a closure that has a value of count to be equal to 4. Does it match with our diagram? Look at this. Here we can see our counter function is an anonymous function that in the closure, the value of count is 4. That is the same thing we see it here. So you can look at closure of any function by doing dir and the name of the function. So in this way, we completed this section also. Now let's go ahead and try to create execution context diagram for this code snippet. So here We'll do the same thing, paste the code here, make it a bit bigger so we can see everything. So every time we try to execute any piece of code, the first thing that happens is a global execution context gets created. And right now we are in declaration phase. We'll go ahead and declare a function called makeColorChanger. So it is a function. So the name of this function is makeColorChanger, and we know it is a function because it is a function declaration. So we'll move to this line where we are defining a box called blue. It will not be initialized with any value. Again, moving on to next line, we can see another variable called tomato. So we'll create that box too. So once we are done with this line, the declaration phase is over. We'll move on to execution phase. In execution phase, we'll skip the first part because it is a function declaration. Here on the right hand side of blue, we see a function execution. And whenever you execute a function, the execution context gets created. So we'll create an execution context here. This is the execution context of makeColorChanger. Inside that function, we don't see any variable, or do we? We actually do. Here it is a parameter, and that also acts like a variable inside function. So we'll create this thing here. The name of the variable is color. It will be initialized with undefined in declaration phase. Moving on to execution phase, we'll see the value that you are passing here is blue. So the value of color will be blue. And now what we are doing from this function is we are returning another function from here. So we'll return this function, and whatever getting returned from here will be stored in blue. So in blue, we will have this function. So I'll just copy this and paste it here. So we understand this is the function that we get returned. I'll make it smaller. We can see the bigger version here, and I'll just make it a smaller so we can understand it. Or just let it be here. Now, one more thing that will happen, because we are returning a function definition from another function, the environment here, the variable color, will also get returned, and that will be stored in the closure of this function. So we'll create a closure, and the value inside it is color, and that is blue. So that part is done. As soon as that will be done, the execution context will be deleted, and we have this function. Similarly here for tomato, the same thing will happen, and we'll have the same function returned from here. The only difference is in the closure of this function, we'll have color is equal to tomato. So now we have two functions, blue and tomato. In the closure of blue, we have a color variable with the value of blue, and it is a function. So now we are going to execute two functions, that is on line number here, on this line, and here we are executing the function blue. We see that blue is a function, so we are going to execute it. So let's make it a bit bigger. Now we are going to create a function execution context, because that is what happens whenever you execute any function. This is a function execution context of blue. It holds a special value in the closure that has a value of color that is equal to blue. Now here we are going to execute this function. So this is the function we are going to execute. As soon as you execute the function, what is going to happen is document.body.style.background color. Sorry, it should be color. So document.body.style.background color should be equal to color. So here we are looking for the variable color. So where we will find color? So first thing we will do is to go into the memory. We'll not be able to find it here. Then we'll move on to the closure, because this function has a special place called closure. So the value is blue. So it will execute the code, and the background color of the page will change to blue. So when we call function blue, it will change the background to blue. When we call tomato, it will do the same thing as we did it here. It will change the background to tomato. Let's just see and execute this code. So here we are going to remove this code. Press enter. We look at blue. We see that blue is a function Let us go ahead and dir blue. Now we see that inside dir it is a anonymous function, and here we have a closure. In the closure we have a variable color that is blue. Can we see that here? Exactly. Similarly, we'll say dir tomato. We'll expand it. Here in closure we can see color is tomato. So let's go ahead and call blue. It is not working here is because, okay, so it will not work here because they already have a background property. So let's just try to do it here. So I'll press enter, will not do these things, press enter. We already seen what is blue, so we'll go ahead and call blue. And we can see the background changed to blue. Similarly, what if we call tomato? Press enter and the background changed to tomato. So in this way, we were able to complete this exercise and create the execution context for all these three code snippets.